Let's start with Andrew Neil, because this is a big moment. This
Bombshell
is the first
news.
interview on television the great man has done since announcing you're leaving the BBC. You'll be leaving after the US elections. Will be your last appearance for them. So, Andrew, a big moment for you. 25 years, I think, at the BBC. How do you feel about it?
A bit scared. It's a big challenge, launching a new channel, a kind of channel that hasn't been done before in Britain. But we're always up for a challenge, and it's going to be fun. I think it'll be exciting. It'll be a chance to do something different. I've always liked to try in my career to make a change, whether it was turning the Sunday Times into a multi-section newspaper, or launching Sky Television in 1989, or trying to do interviews in a different way for the BBC. And now we're going to try a new news-based channel.
The channel's called GB News, and it's financed by the US company Discovery. You've got very deep pockets. So what's the premise for it? A 24-hour news channel, like Sky, like BBC? Well, how will it be?
No, there would be no point doing what's already done pretty well by the existing incumbents. It will not be a rolling news channel. It'll be based more like MSNBC in America, which is on the left, Fox, which is on the right. Now, you know, Piers, as well as I do, they don't do rolling news. They do news when it breaks, but they don't do continuous rolling news. They segment the day into individual programs, news-based programs, built around very strong presenters, or anchors, as they call them in the United States. And that's what we'll do too. Anchors with a bit of edge, bit of attitude, bit of personality, and people will make an appointment to view them. That's the plan. You're
going to be the main assault weapon on screen as well. You're going to be the main prime-time presenter. Yeah,
I'm going to do a show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Prime time, as the Americans would say. It'll be an hour long, and we hope that will attract lots of viewers at that time. You see, rolling news in Britain doesn't attract many viewers. It gets viewers when there's big news, a Gulf War, the opening breakout of the pandemic in the early days. But when that news just fades somewhat, so do the ratings. They don't stay high. Whereas in American news networks, they found that if they do specific programming, they actually rate very well. And that's what we're going to try to do.
Andrew, for those fans of yours who loved This Week, who loved Politics Live, who loved the leader interviews, even the leader interview you didn't do with Boris Johnson.
The most famous one.
Yeah, the most famous one. Where
the best one in many ways.
You explained all the questions and all the points. I mean, you basically took him down with this kind of list of the points that he should have had the guts to address. But why have you left the BBC? Because those programmes made a massive impact. There are suggestions that because of your political views and because the BBC is under enormous pressure to stay neutral, that you were being in some way ousted because of that. Then there was a new Director General. You said that you had worked with him perhaps to try and find some new formats but hadn't been able to. Why has the BBC let go one of its best broadcasters?
Oh, I think you'll have to ask the BBC that. By the way, the questions that I wanted to pose to Mr. Johnson, which was about trust and competence and so on, how prescient have these questions proved to be?
He's answered them, hasn't he, with his behaviour,
It shows you they were the right questions. Look, I don't really want to look back. I've enjoyed my years at the BBC. I've been surrounded by some of the most talented people in broadcasting. There are times when I've been unhappy at how the BBC has treated me. They wouldn't move This Week to a better time slot. It was getting closer and closer to midnight. They cancelled the Andrew Neil show, even though it was beating Channel 4 News every time it was on, and so on. But, the BBC is a huge organisation. The bit about me being neutral, I'm as neutral and as impartial as anybody on the BBC, sometimes more. I come from a different political tradition, but I don't let that affect how I do interviews. I think is the failure of Mr. Johnson to give me an interview shows. But the new DG came up with some really good offers at the end, but they weren't quite good enough. I felt it was a bit of a step back. Too much water had flowed under the bridge. It was time to move on, and I do so in an amicable way. I'm not out to seek revenge. I'm not going to do a John Humphreys, which you leave the BBC with glowing reports, and the 24 hours later, you beat up on the BBC. That's not not my style.
What you may be up against is an old friend and foe, Rupert Murdoch, who is rumoured to be planning to launch his own news channel in the new year, to go potentially, I guess, directly up against you guys. What do you know about his plans, and what do you feel about it?
Well, they tried to get me to join and do that, but in the end, I decided not to. I left Rupert Murdoch's organisation 25 years ago, and it didn't seem to me like a sensible career mover to go back. Though the offer they made was very generous and very professional and so on. It's not quite clear yet what they intend to do. I originally thought they were going to do a channel like GB News, but the latest I hear is that they're going to do maybe 3 programmes a day, one on show business, one on politics, and one a debate show, and then stream them. Whereas, and maybe they'll change now that we've announced our launch, but GB News is going to be on Freeview, the Sky platform, Virgin Cable, and so on. And it's not clear yet that News UK's plans are going to do that. But hey, look, it's a market, it's competition. We're happy to meet anybody in the marketplace and give it our best shot.
Well, let's go to Andrew Pearce. I mean, this is a massive blow for the BBC. To lose someone like Andrew Neil at the top of his game, literally come through that election period with some of the best interviews he's ever done, widely respected in the whole country. To lose someone like that is a big blow. What does it say about where the BBC is right now?
I think it's completely shameful because Andrew, we don't really know what his politics are. You would never know when you see Andrew Neil in full flow on television or radio. I remember working alongside Andrew 20 years ago when I was doing a show on 5 Live. He was doing a breakfast show. He was the ultimate professional. He still is. And what does it say about the BBC? It is damning that public money is used to fund that channel, and a great man like Andrew Neil with his forensic interviewing skills is going to a rival commercial channel. I wish him the very best of luck with it, but it says a lot about the BBC that they can't keep a big figure like that within an organisation that employs, 25,000 people, has so many channels, and they couldn't come up with a proper deal.
What is very interesting, Andrew Neil, is, of course, there are reports that there's wind of change, dramatic change, where Charles Moore, the former Telegraph editor, may come in as the chairman of the BBC, a man who's constantly railed against the BBC. And this comes at the same time that one of Andrew Pearce's former bosses, Paul Dacre, is being rumoured to be the new boss of Ofcom, the television regulator, where presumably he would then preside over beating me up on a daily basis, which I'm sure would be a huge pleasure to him. But what does this say, Andrew, about the general state of things, and in particular, the relationship between the government and the BBC?
Well, the government has the view that all these quangos are dominated by lefties and that it wants to make a change. Now, look, that's fair enough if that's what it thinks. But in making a change, you have to be careful who you choose. The new Director General of the BBC has a reform programme. It's a sensible reform programme. Everything he's said and done so far, in my view, has been the right thing. What he needs is a chairman that understands these reforms and will back him. With Boris Johnson wanting to appoint Charles Moore, it's a bit like he's sitting in an editorial conference in The Spectator and says, when he was editor then, and says, look, here's a jolly jape. Let's do an editorial in favor saying Charles Moore should be the next chairman of the BBC. That'll have them. Ha, 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 jolly good. Trebles all round and let's go to lunch. That's fine for an editorial in The Spectator, perhaps, but to put in a chairman at the BBC at a difficult time for the BBC is different. And also to put someone in who knows nothing about broadcasting, nothing about broadcasting at all. I mean, either he will go native very quickly or he'll be out of his depth. But what it doesn't give is a reforming Director General with the kind of chairman that he needs to get his reforms through.